Hare Krishna, everyone. Danvat Pranam, Jai Shri Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Thank you for joining. We're reading Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15. Let's say Mangalacharan prayers. Om Ajnana-timirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Padkam Guru Vaishnavamscha Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Satam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savidutam Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Namostute Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari
Vishwani Sute Devi Pranami Haripriya
Vanchakaltarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedant Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yatkripatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Krishna Chaitanya Ishwaram Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadadai Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktyaya Namah Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you everyone for joining. We'll read Sri Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15. We read till verse 11 last time, and we have to read from verse 12 today. So we'll try to cover a few verses. So just to recount what was read in last 3-4 verses. So Krishna was talking about the transmigration of the souls, right? That in verse 8 he said, living entities carry his different conceptions of life from one body to another as the air carries the aromas. Thus he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. Living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains certain types of eye, ear, tongue, nose, and sense of touch which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular sense of sense objects. So basically, these two verses were dealing with the transmigration of the soul. How soul quits one body and accepts another body, and the soul carries his different conceptions of life, meaning whatever his desires were, whatever his impressions or sanskaras were made on the mind, on his intelligence and on his ego, whatever anarthas he had, all those things he is going to carry through his subtle body. The soul will be spirit soul accompanied with the subtle body, which is mind, intelligence and ego, will go to the next gross body. So the next gross body will get a certain type of sense organs, right? Because gross body is made of sense organs like eyes, ears, nose, all this they will get. So they can object certain type of sense objects because sense organs engage with sense objects, like eyes will see something, hands will touch something, tongue will taste something, nose will smell something. So those are sense objects. So in this way he will get a certain type of gross body through which he will enjoy whatever propensities he had. So whatever desires were unfulfilled, whatever enjoyed propensities he had, he liked to eat a lot, so then he will get a body where he can eat a lot. If he wanted to enjoy with opposite sex, then he'll get certain type of body like that. If he wanted to enjoy a lot of wealth or fame, then they will get those propensities fulfilled. So like that, your unfulfilled desires, your conceptions, your impressions, your samskaras, your anarthas, you will carry from one body to another. So this was in 8 and 9. Then 10 and 11, Krishna was saying that the foolish people do not understand all this process. They do not understand how living entity can quit this body. According to the foolish people, oh, we are here to enjoy. We should enjoy as much as possible. Khao piyo aish karo, right? This body is given to us just for our sense gratification, do fruitive activities, go to job and make money, and then spend the money on oneself or one's family. And this is one life we have, and we should live this life to the fullest, not knowing that this is not the only life, and whatever consciousness you are creating in this life, you will carry that consciousness to the next life, right? So foolish people will not understand how this material nature is controlling them and making them do certain activities, sense gratificatory activities, fruitive activities, making them fulfill certain desires, and in this way we are just going from one body to another. But Krishna says, one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. So, somebody who's in knowledge, meaning like a self realized person or a spiritual seeker who is hankering for absolute truth, he understands that all this is very temporary. This cannot be the highest goal of life. This cannot be why I have been given this extremely advanced, complicated instrument, this body that has such minute, technical complexity inside it. How can that just be meant for this sense gratification? There must be something more. So somebody like that, when starts hankering after the spirit, the self-realization or absolute truth, they will get trained in this knowledge, and they'll be able to see how all this is happening. So that person will be situated in self-realization, can see all this clearly. And we took an example of like a radiologist or an ultrasonographer, right? Who can see the baby on the ultrasound, who can see that the bone is fractured or the lung has pneumonia on the X-ray, whereas a layman cannot see. Why? Because the radiologist's eyes are trained to see it, to see that picture, which is very blurry, which is just black and white dots to the other person. He can see this. Similarly, a person who's training himself, reading Bhagavad Gita, reading Bhagavatam, asking questions from devotees, right? That person who's training himself can see all this clearly, how we are stuck in this body, how the living entity is an embodied soul right now, how he's accepting this body and stuck inside this body when he could be completely free, liberated, and enjoy the full bliss instead of the temporary sense gratification and temporary happiness this body can offer. And this body offers more miseries than the happiness, and keeps us entangled in cycle of birth and death. How the three modes are controlling us like those chains we read in last chapter, right? How the mode of ignorance, passion, and goodness are controlling us. So a self-realized person can see all that is taking place, but somebody who's not situated in self-realization, who does not have this training, does not have this knowledge, cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. So we have to read forward from this. Any questions on this aspect, on this part that we read yesterday? Any realizations? Anybody did any reading from the purports, and anything comes to mind, please share or ask. Everybody good? Shall we move forward? Okay. Okay, let's read from verse 12 then. So we'll try to read from 12 to 15 today. 15th is a very important verse that everyone should remember. And kids probably already remember that verse, but let's start from 12th. So we're reading Bhagavad Gita 15.12. Yad adityagatam tejo Yadadityagatam tejo Jagad bhasyate khilam Jagad bhasyate khilam Yachandramsi yachagnau Yachandramsi yachagnau Tattejo vidhimamakam Tattejo vidhimamakam. Okay, who wants to read the translation?
I can read.
Yes.
Krishna. The splendor of the sun which dissipates the darkness, the whole world. And the splendor of the moon, the splendor of fire are also from me.
Let's read one more. 12 and 13 are going together, so we'll read one more and then discuss them. 15.13 Gamavisya cha bhutani Gamavisya cha bhutani Dharyamyam ojasa Dharyamyam ojasa Pushnami chaushadhi sarva Pushnami chaushadhi sarva Somo bhutva rasatmaka Somo bhutva rasatmaka. Right, can someone read this?
I'll read it, Mother.
Yes.
I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables.
Very bold. So let's break down both these verses a little and then we'll understand their meaning. So this verse, last verse, 15.12. So we finished where Krishna is saying self-realized soul can understand, the foolish people cannot understand the transmigration of the soul. Now he's talking about himself. He's saying that Aditya means sun. Okay, Gatam means sunshine. That the sunshine or the splendor of the sun is sunshine, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world. Jagat bhasyate khilam. That Jagat means world. Bhasyate means enlightens the whole world, illuminates the whole world. The sunshine coming from sun or the splendor of the sun, the glow, the effulgence of the sun, which is lighting up the whole world and driving away its darkness. The Chandra means moon. The splendor of the moon, Chandramsi means the rays of the moon. Chandramsi, the splendor of the moon. And Agni, Cha Agnav. Agni means fire. That the splendor of the fire. All this splendor, that Tej means splendor. That splendor, that glow, that effulgence, that shine, the rays, they come they all come from me. Vidhi mamakam. They're possible only from me. So that's this verse. Now let's break down the other verse also, then we'll take it together. So he's saying that the splendor of the sun, the moon, and the fire comes from me. Then he's saying, I enter into each planet. So all the planets that are there, whether whatever the scientists have discovered, right? Whether you Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, all those planets, or the heavenly and the lower planets in the universe that we understand from Vedic cosmology, the Vedic astrology, all that planets are by my energy staying in the orbit, right? I become the moon and supply the juice of life to all the vegetables. Again, the power of the moon that gives som means somras or the juice to all the vegetables, that is also coming from me. So now, so basically he's giving couple of his very important opulences, just like he did in chapter 10. You remember that chapter 10 was called Vibhuti Yog, where he was talking about his opulences. So similarly, in these two verses also, he's talking about some of his opulences. And what he's saying is that everything that you see in this world, which attracts you a lot, for example, to us, the sun is very attractive. We cannot even imagine our life without sun. The sun's glow, its beauty, its radiance, its warmth that it gives to us, the energy that it gives to us, how it nourishes the plant so the plants can do photosynthesis, how we capture its solar energy and use that to convert into various other energies and drive our thermal plants and water plants and make electricity from it, right? So many things we get from sun. Our clocks are set according to the sun. Our time is set according to the sun. We get up according to the sun. We go to work. Everything is dependent on sun for us, right? So it is a very big part of our life. Similarly, moon, very, very opulent to us, very beautiful. If you have to compare a beauty for anybody, always say, oh, Chand jaisa chehra hai, right? So many songs are there where they're comparing their beloved to the to the moon, because moon is so silvery white effulgence with very, very sheetal looking, very calm and beautiful looking, right? I cannot even describe in words that kind of beauty, right? So you cannot describe in the words somebody's beauty, then you just compare them to moon, right? So moon is so opulent to us. And then fire. Fire is another, energy of the Lord that is very, very important to us. We depend on it. We need it for cooking food. We need it to stay warm. We need it to, for so many things we need it, right? We use its energy for so many things. And it can burn. It is very, very scary. It is very, very fearsome also. It can burn somebody. It can, and if used properly, it can be utilized for our life, for our day-to-day activities of the life. So like that, such opulent things, all their splendor, Krishna is saying, comes from me. So all these things that attract you in this world, they come from me. Their splendor come from me. You see a beautiful person, you see a very famous person, you see a very wealthy person, and you get attracted by them. These celebrities that you see are very beautiful. You see somebody very, very knowledgeable, very, very intelligent, right? All their splendor, all their intelligence, all their bravery, their strength, their wealth, their beauty, everything is coming from me. So this is, and something similar Krishna has said before in chapter 10. Anybody remembers that verse? Towards the end of, he lists all his opulences, and then in the end he says, what is the need to list all these opulences, Arjun? Just understand that everything there is comes from me. They are just a spark of my effulgence, actually. They're not even the full. They're just a spark of my opulence. So what is that verse? Can anybody quote with and give the meaning? Yes, Nirbhay Prabhu or Navya.
Hare Krishna. So, yad yad vibhuti matsatvam shrimad eva va tad evavagachatvam mam tejo amsha sambhavam.
Very bold. Yes.
10.40.
10.41, yes. So, yad yad vibhuti mat sattvam, whatever vibhuti, whatever opulence you see in this world, Srimad Urjitam Evava, the Shri that you see, the fame, the opulence, the energies that you see, Tattad Evava Gachatvam, they are all coming from me, and Mam Tejo Amsha, they are just Amsh, they are just a spark of my splendor, Sambhavam, and they're just possible by a spark of me. So it's not even the full opulence Krishna has to manifest in this world. It's just a spark of his splendor he shows, and we get so attracted by everything. So imagine if just a spark of his splendor is so attractive, so useful, so beneficial for us that it maintains our life. It is a source of inspiration to us. People write songs and poems about it, right? They run their life according to those objects. Imagine how the full effulgence would be like in Krishna's abode, right? So that is what Krishna is saying, that all these energies from sun, from moon, and then the next verse Krishna is saying that the somras, or the somras is basically the moonshine that when goes into the vegetables actually nourishes the vegetables. So the taste, the succulent taste one gets in the vegetables, the juice that one gets in the vegetables and the fruits comes from the moon rays, right? You remember on the Sharad Purnima, Avni Vede should know that on the night of Sharad Purnima we make kheer and put it in the under the moonlight, right? Why? Because moon is so bright that day. The Sharad Purnima is the night when Ras Leela happens, right? Sharad ki raat mein Ras Leela hoti, right? That night the moon is at its fullest splendor. It wants to see the Ras Leela happening in Vrindavan. That night when you put the kheer outside in the moonshine, open, right? And it nourishes the kheer. It nourishes it so much, and then the next day you can accept it as honor it as prasadam of the Lord, right? So that moon every day gives somras, the juice, to the vegetables, so they taste good. They are succulent. He's using the word rasatmaka. If you see in this verse, he's using the word rasatmaka, meaning I give the rasa. I become the moon and I give the rasa to the vegetables, the juice of life to all vegetables. And that juice nourishes us when we honor those vegetables, those fruits, that nourishes us. So for our body's maintenance, we need the sun, we need the fire, we need the moon, we need the electricity, all these things, and they all are basically supplied by Krishna, and they're just a spark of his unlimited splendor. So he's our sustainer, he's our maintainer. And he's saying, I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. What energy is this by which a planet is staying in the orbit? The gravitational pull, right? The gravitational force. So they are staying in the, I mean, imagine the rocket scientists, the physicists, they have to try so hard to send a satellite into the orbit. They send a small satellite, which is nothing compared to these huge planets. And those satellites are not always launched properly, right? It fails. And Krishna has put all these heavy, huge, big planets, and they're orbiting very nicely in the solar system, and they don't collide with each other. They do their function properly. The seasons change based on our distance from the sun, right? How the earth, if it comes close to the sun, then it'll be summer. If it goes away from the sun, it's winter, right? So nicely the earth is orbiting, and it is staying in that orbit. The other planets are also staying in their orbit without falling, without nothing. So he's saying by my energy, they stay in the orbit. And Prabhupada makes a very nice point in the purport. He says that they are all floating and they don't collide by his energy. But if he took away his energy, they will all fall like dust. Everything will just scatter like dust. If not for him, he uses this line, if not for him, all the planets would scatter like dust in the air and perish. So by his energy, they're orbiting so perfectly and functioning and not colliding with each other. So in this way, this is Krishna's energy that is keeping us, that is maintaining us, sustaining all beings, all planets, all universes, this whole nature, the plants, the mountains, the trees. Everything is being nourished by the Lord. And then I wanted to show you a couple verses that we have read already from like 11th chapter also. He compares, Arjun actually says to him that you are everything. You are air, you are supreme controller, you are fire, you are water, you are moon, you are Brahma, you are the great grandfather. When Arjun saw the Vishwaroop, the Virat Roop of Krishna, the universal form, he said all these things to Krishna as well. In 11th chapter, actually, Krishna also says that sun and moon are my eyes, right? So in this way, all these things that we see, their radiance, their glow, their potency to maintain us, their beauty, their energy, they all comes from their light. That all comes from Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then we read one verse just a few shlokas back where Krishna says that there is no need, that supreme abode of mine is not illumined by sun or moon nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach my abode never return to this material world, right? That in my abode, it is not illumined by sun, moon, fire or electricity. Na tadbhasyate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. So what does that mean? Does that mean that Krishna's abode does not have sun, moon, fire or electricity? He says it is not illumined by, yes, Vedi.
All of because in Krishna's Dham, him, Radharani, his so friends, and all the devotees who are there, they're also like bright, glowy, bright, that there is no need. They're self-effulgent.
Okay.
There's no need for any light.
There is no need, yeah. Everything in all the effulgence is coming from the Lord and his associates. So the Lord is illuminating. But sun is still a very nice thing. Moon is a very beautiful thing. All the beauty belongs to the Lord. So why wouldn't Lord's abode will be nice if there was sun or moon. It will be very sad, right, without not having sun or moon there.
He is the sun and moon. He has all of the beauty. No one's going to care for the sun and moon.
Okay, yeah, sure. But poor sun and moon, they don't get to enjoy Krishna's beauty then. They don't get to be there. They just have to hang around in the material world.
I thought they were like the eyes or something.
Yeah, so they're his eyes.
So everything that you see, right, is part of the spiritual world. Everything we see here, we just seeing a spark of the spiritual world here, right? So, but the problem, the difference is that the material world is dependent on these things, right? Sun and moon and everything also exists in the spiritual world, but they don't need, they are not dependent. The spiritual world is not dependent on the energy of the sun, moon, fire, etc. Those things are there just to participate in the pastimes and enhance the pastimes of the Lord, like fire, right? Fire, this Leela where Krishna ingests all the fire in the forest. You remember that pastime where Krishna takes in all the fire, right? So those pastimes, they happen in Vrindavan, right? In spiritual abode also. So there is fire, there is sun, there is moon, there is time there, but all those things we are not, they are not dependent on them just like we are dependent here. We are dependent on sun, moon, fire, electricity, water, all these elements for our maintenance. We cannot live without these things. Our life will not be possible without these things, right? So we are dependent in this material world on these things. In spiritual abode, they are there, but they are to help in the pastime. They are to enhance the pastimes, enhance the beauty of the pastimes. They are, nobody is dependent on them. They are only dependent on Krishna. Krishna is the center of everything, and everything, everybody is dependent for their maintenance on Krishna, not on these other material, on these elements, right? So that is the difference. The time, sometimes we say, oh, there is no time in spiritual world. Time exists, but it has a very different role to play than it does in the material world. Time in the spiritual world again helps in facilitating the pastimes of the Lord. Everything is done in the service of the Lord there. Not that we are dependent on time just like we are here in the spiritual world. It has a very different role. So the time is also energy of the Lord, the sun, the moon, all this fire, all this is energies of the Lord. But they are, we are dependent on them here in spiritual world. They are there. They are enhancing. They are facilitating. They are making the pastime more lively, more acting. They're acting in different ways in those stories. They are not. Nobody's dependent on them. They're only dependent on Krishna. Does that make sense? Right? Okay. So yeah, so all these things that we are dependent on, the Krishna is saying they come from me. So if you're okay, unless anybody has any questions or doubt, we can move to the next two verses. Anybody wants to share anything? Okay, so we read till 12 and 13. Krishna says that I enter into each planet. With my energy, they stay in the orbit, right? Then comes verse 14. Let's do 14 separate, and then we'll do 15. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. Aham
Vaishvanaro Bhutva
Praninam Dehamashrita.
Praninam Dehamashrita
Pranapan Samayukta. Pranapan
Pranapana
Samayukta.
Samayukta
Pachamya Annam Chaturvidham. Pachamya
Prachamyannam Achaturvidham.
Can somebody read this?
I can read, Mataji.
Yes.
Hari Bol, I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of food stuff. Hari Bol.
Hari Bol. So here Krishna is saying in the same continuation. So before he said that the taste of the vegetables that you get, right? That's me. He has also said before that I am also the taste of water. Anybody remembers that verse? Rasoham apsu kaunteya, right? So that I'm the taste of the water also. So every time you're eating, you're drinking, remember that Krishna is the taste of the water, the taste of the vegetables, the taste of the fruits. Now he's saying Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva. Vaishvanaro word means the digesting fire. So the fire of digestion. So we need even fire within us, right? Our body is made of all the 5 elements, and one of the elements is fire, right? So Vaishvanaru, we have this fire of digestion. Because somebody may say, oh, okay, I understand we are made of earth, air, water, fire, or earth, air, water, ether. But where is the fire in this body? So there you are. Krishna is saying, I am the fire of digestion in the body. I am the digesting fire in the praninam. Prani means somebody who has pran, right? We have pran. So he says that pran you have, the incoming air that you inhale, and apan, the outgoing air that you exhale, that is also me. Pachami annam chaturvidham. So, and by I help you digest the 4 kinds of food stuff. Pachami means pachana matlab digest karna. Pachami annam. Annam means food. Chaturvidham. 4 kinds of food stuff I help you digest. So he says, I am the digesting fire inside the bodies of the living entities of prani. I join with their air, incoming and outgoing air, and digest the 4 kinds of food stuff. What are the 4 kinds of food stuff? The 4 kinds of food stuff are basically the ones that are drunk, loshya, chew, bhakshya, lick, leya, and sipped, bhojya. So we chew some things like, for example, roti, rice, something solid, you will chew, right? Those are chewed foods. Sipping, like for example, fruits, dal, right? Something liquidy like that, you will sip, bhojya, right? Savory things that you will sip. Licking, for example, honey or various condiments like that, right? So various type of sauces and things that you will lick. So that is lehiya or licking. And the 4th is drinking, that you just drink like water, juices, that is drunk. Those things are drunk. So those are the 4 kinds of food stuff. And Krishna says, I am that fire blazing inside of you. So then in purport, Prabhupada is describing that this fire that's blazing inside us, that leads to hunger. Okay, if we have proper fire inside us, we will be hungry. Sometimes when somebody is really sick, right? This is one question I ask them as a doctor, that do you have any appetite? Are you hungry? Because if somebody is hungry, they can't be very sick. They can't be too sick because their fire is still blazing inside them, right? If somebody is really, really sick, then they will not be able to eat. They will say, no, I'm not hungry at all. So when the fire is not blazing, then they will be, either you are very satisfied, you're satiated, the fire is calmed down because you ate, or something is out of order, fire goes out of order in your body and you have disease. So when you have good fire blazing inside you, that is a sign of being hungry. And then you eat to quench that hunger, to satiate that hunger. But when that fire goes out of order, then that leads to disease, right? So Krishna is saying, I am the digestive force, I help in digestion. So even digestion is not in our control. We think we are such controllers, we are such masters, at least I'm master of my own body. No, you're not the master. Krishna is still the master of even your body. You may eat something and you don't even know if it is going to get digested properly in your body or not, right? It may make you sick, it may nourish you, or it may make you sick, right? You have no control over that. So what is in our control though? What we eat is in our control, right? What we put in our body is in our control. Whether we put Krishna Prasad in our body, or whether we are putting meat in our body, whether we are putting alcohol in our body, so what we are putting in our body is in our control. And then what happens to that food is not in our control. We don't decide, oh, now I'm going to leak pancreatic juice. Now the stomach juices will come. Now the bile will start spraying in. Now I'm eating this. Now the bile should come. This much amount of bile should come. This much amount of pancreatic juice should come. This enzyme should come. That enzyme. I cannot decide that, right? So it is all Krishna saying, I am the digestive force. So that is the Vaishvanara, the fire of digestion. Actually, in Ayurveda, some of you familiar with Ayurveda, there is a powder people give. It's called Vaishvanara powder. Like when people have these digestive ailments, they're not able to digest properly, they get bloated, they get flatulent, all these kind of problems. So they give Vaishvanara powder in Ayurveda to fix your digestion. So Vaishvanara, that's where this word comes from, the digestive force, the digestive fire. And then Krishna is saying, I'm also the air that combines with this digestive force, right? So fire accompanied with that air, the pran, will lead to the digestion. So in this way, he helps to digest the food. Anybody wants to share anything about that? 4 kinds of food stuff, right? Chaturvidha Shri Bhagavad Prasada Swadvarna Triptan Hari Bhakta Sanghan Kritveva Triptem Bhajta Sadeva Vande Guru Shri Charanarvindam. We sing every morning, right? In the morning Guru Ashtakam. That my Guru, what does he do? Chaturveda Shri Bhagavad. He prepares 4 kind of foodstuffs for Bhagwan. Chaturveda Shri Bhagavad Prasada. He makes Bhagavad Prasad. That is why prasad, our diet, what we put in our body, how we nourish our body, is one of the main limbs, one of the 5 main limbs of the devotional service of our Krishna consciousness. A, B, C, D. D is the diet. Diet is very important, what we are putting in our body, because our soul is inside this body. Paramatma is sitting with the soul inside this body. This body is an instrument of Krishna's service, right? So how we are nourishing this instrument, what kind of fuel we are putting in this body matters, right? If you're putting Bhagavad Prasada, you're cooking Bhagavad Prasada, offering to the Lord and putting that Bhagavad Prasada in your body, it will nourish you, right? Chaturvidhashi Bhagavad Prasada Swadvanna Triptan Hari Bhakta Sanghan. And what does he do? He enjoys that Bhagavad Prasad, he honors it in the company of Hari Bhaktas, in company of the Krishna devotees. Enjoy with the devotees of the Lord. Feed others, he feeds others. He feeds everybody Krishna Prasad. Kritveva triptim bhajta sadev, and that will trip you, that will satisfy, that satisfies him. Feeding others on, and honoring the prasad, Bhagavad Prasad himself is what satisfies. That to that spiritual master, I bow down, right? It is one of the very main aspects of our devotional service, actually, that we are cooking and eating, honoring Bhagavad Prasad, Krishna Prasad. So we are not vegetarians, we are not vegans, we are not anything. We are Krishnatarians. Somebody may say, oh, you're vegetarian. Yeah, we are vegetarian, but we're not just eating any vegetarian food. Vegetarian food to kuch bhi ho sakta hai. We're eating one that is offered to the Lord first. So it's Krishna Prasad. So remembering even in that Krishna is the supreme controller and we are very minute controller. Okay. Please share any thoughts, any doubts about it.
I have a question.
Yes, Mataji.
Just like they say that Krishna is in every living thing, so why are we stopping ourselves from eating onions and garlic if his energy is in everything?
Yes, Mataji. So, Mataji, there are certain foods, according to our scriptures, that produce more of mode of ignorance or tamasic qualities in us, right? So mode of ignorance basically means more laziness, illusion, more anger, more lusty feelings, more material desires, not too much spiritual desires and spiritual qualities. So certain foods bring those qualities in us, okay? Because we are controlled by the 3 modes, right? The goodness, passion, and ignorance. The tamas, rajas, and sattvic, right? So if we feed our body, if we put more and more sattvic food in our body, we are more likely to be in mode of goodness and it will be more favorable for us to do the devotional service. So to engage in spiritual activities. Otherwise, if your body is, you're feeling lazy, you have to sleep a lot, you won't be able to get up in the morning and chant in the Brahma Muhurat. You won't be able to do Mangal Aarti in the morning. You'll be angry all the time, irritable all the time, treating people badly, getting upset, right? Greed will be there, material desires will be there, not much hankering for reading scriptures and taking Krishna's name. So since this body is controlled by the 3 modes, we should try to stay more and more in the mode of goodness or sattvic rather than in the mode of passion or ignorance. So we should avoid the things that will make us tamasic or rajasic, especially tamasic. Even not just foods, but what we are reading, what we are watching on the TV, the kind of people that we are meeting with, because our senses are taking all the input, right? So what we are watching, what we are hearing, what we are smelling, what we are tasting, what we are putting in this body, what we are touching, all those things will decide what kind of mode I will stay in, what kind of consciousness my body will stay in. So, onion and garlic and certain other food products like that, for example, alcohol will cause intoxication. So, you cannot focus, your mind is an illusion. Now, somebody can say, okay, even alcohol or even meat or anything has Krishna is in everything, so why can't I eat everything? He's in that chicken also, so I should eat that chicken because he's in the chicken. Yeah, but that is, that is a very, very violent thing to do. That is why we avoid meat, because we cannot kill another living entity. And as for fruits and vegetables, certain foods and vegetables, mushrooms, onions, garlic, those things are just more in mode of ignorance, and they bring those qualities in us. And so, and they are not favorable, like you read today, right? Anukulyasya sankalpa. Do the vow, take the sankalp that I'll do things that are favorable for my bhakti. So these things are just not very favorable for our progress. They will hold you back. They will make you more lazy, more an illusion, and bring out more anarthas and bad qualities rather than Vaishnav qualities and Brahmanical qualities.
Okay. Because I mean, although we are Western, but it's sometimes very hard, when you stay in a family to abstain from, especially with a busy life. Sometimes you cannot cook at home. Then you have to get food from outside, and everything has onion and garlic.
Right. Yes, Mataji, that's true. That's true. So, but at least if we know what to aspire for, we just start working towards it slowly, whatever is comfortable. So, when you're cooking at home, if you are the main person that cooks, you can try to avoid onion and garlic as much as possible. And then when you go outside, you can just say, oh, can you, let's say you're eating a sandwich, can you not put onion in this? So you try on your end, but if it is unavoidable, you just say a prayer to Krishna that, please bring me to that stage, that situation, that platform where I'm able to avoid all of this and just eat Krishna prasad, just eat your prasad all the time. But till then, we struggle. In everything, we are struggling, no doubt. We're struggling with everything, reading scriptures, chanting, but at least we show that we're struggling. So at least we should have that consciousness and try as much as possible.
Thank you.
Anybody else wants to share anything about Mataji's question or?
Mataji, I have a different question. And I don't know if it's in the same topic, but if you don't agree with something and you don't like it and you have already addressed that issue many times and it keeps on getting entangled more and more. So how do you dissociate yourself from that so that it doesn't affect you anymore? Like, what's the right way to dissociate yourself from that?
Okay.
Mataji, I couldn't understand the question. Can you please explain a little bit more?
Okay,
like
so
suppose what kind of
is this like in material way?
Eat or
yes. Oh, definitely material. Yes.
So like a material problem that keeps bothering you?
Yes. So how do you dissociate yourself from it?
Sure.
Because there's not going to be a solution for it. You cannot get to the solution for it. So how do you dissociate yourself? Because you can only change yourself. So how do you dissociate yourself from it so that it doesn't affect you,
Okay.
Mataji?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Can I offer one?
Yes, Mataji, please.
Absolutely.
Okay. So Mataji, in all these classes and everything, one of the main things we hear is we are not in control, right? And also there is a saying, you have a circle of influence and a circle of control. Like you said, it's not in your control. Can you influence it? If you can influence it, influence it. But if it is not in your control, you have to let go. That's the basic. And also what Natasha Mataji says is, most of the things, the result is not in our control. Even if the actions are in our control, but the result is also not in our control. It's in Krishna's hands, the result. So with the regular saying, circle of influence, circle of control, and also what Natasha Mataji keeps, like Krishna consciousness, the end result is not in our control. In this situation, so just leave it to Krishna, and that would be my advice. So yeah.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Thank you, Lalita Mataji. That was very nice. Yes, the circle of influence and circle of concern, right? Some things we are able to.
Yep. First one is circle of control, then the circle of influence, and then the circle of concern. So the 3 circles. And this one is just a circle of concern. And I think to me, what I think, what I learned from these, from Krishna consciousness is, don't stay longer in the circle of concern. Make that circle of concern smaller and leave it. That's if we stay in the circle of concern longer, it just doesn't. Yes, that's it, Mataji. Yeah. So yeah.
So yes, Mataji. Thank you for asking that question. I think one way or the other, all of us are in certain situations where we want to change things, but we are not able to. And so we just somehow have to accept it or let go. I think if we talk personally, I can guide you a little better to get more information on what is exactly going on. But like Lalita Mataji said, see how much this problem is bothering you, and if you're able to distance yourself from it. Like if it is something in professional life where something or somebody's attitude or anything is bothering you, that is, and see how much worth it is to put any endeavor in it. Can we distance ourselves from those people? Can we try to make some changes? If not, then just distance yourself if it starts affecting your mental and physical well-being. If it is more in the family, things are harder, and then you have to see whether it is something in your house or distant family. Distant family also, without breaking the bridge, you just keep the connection, but you distance yourself. And remember that everything in this world is a fight. So you don't, everybody's Krishna servant. So you don't dissociate yourself from people completely, but you just kind of distance so they don't affect your mental or physical well-being, and yet don't break the bridge, so that they can always come back to you if they need any help. If it is somebody in the house, if it is situation right in your daily routine in the house, then that is the most that can be the most problematic. Then you cannot distance yourself, because they're your family, they're your close, very very close family members. Then you may need to just have an honest conversations and decide how much you are willing to compromise and how much other person will compromise. So then we'll have to compromise a certain, on both ends, a little bit of compromise will be needed. So that is very very grossly, I'm without knowing the details and specifics.
Definitely, Lalita Mataji and Natasha Mataji definitely helps. I think what you said, the circle of influence and concern, I think definitely that part definitely helps. So thank you for sharing both your thoughts.
Yes, Mataji. Like if it is something, like people start talking about, oh, there is a war in Russia and Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine going on, and always thinking about it, like driving yourself crazy. What can you do about it? This is not in your circle of control or circle of influence, nothing. Why would you go crazy about this, right? Now, there may be something going on in your community that you could influence, in your family, at your job that you could influence, that may be in your control. Let's work there. But all the random things going on in the world, we're not able to, we cannot concern ourselves with so many things, and uh, best thing a devotee can do is to just pray very sincerely and intensely to Krishna, that please, this situation is affecting my surrender to you, affecting my mental and physical well-being, so that I'm completely always thinking about this and not able to chant your names. I'm not able to do my work properly. This is affecting my health. Anything, whatever the problems are. And please, only you can find a solution. So pray intensely, sit in the front of deities and meditate. And just remember that whoever is affecting you are also very much miserable. Everybody is actually suffering in this world, and everybody is under the control of three modes. They may not know it, but they're all suffering and very miserable actually. And so just have compassion on everybody without harming anyone. Just pray for them and for your own well-being. That's all I have to share. Mataji, we'll talk more later.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji.
So I think we'll stop here. The verse 15 is actually, I'll just show you the verse so that and recite it maybe, but we won't discuss it because it is very important verse and we have to break it down nicely and discuss in detail. But thank you everybody for your questions. This is really important that we ask questions and try to get solutions. This is a forum for, no judgment, no expectations, nothing. So please always share any doubts, concerns. Let's recite this verse and please think of any more doubts, questions anybody has, and let's take it up. So this is Bhagavad Gita 15.15. This is a memory verse. Sarvasya chaham hridhi sanivishto Matta smriti jnanamapohanam cha Vedeshcha sarverahamev vedyo Vedeshcha sarverahamev vedyo Vedant krid ved vidheva chaham I'll just read the translation. Sarvasya chaham riddhi sannivishto. I am seated in everyone's heart. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. From me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So see how bold this is, how solid this line is. Remember this line always. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Vedaischa sarver aham eva vedyo. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Vedant krid ved vid eva chaham. Indeed, I am the compiler of the Vedas. Vedant krid. I am the knower of the Vedas, Ved Vid. So not only I am to be known by all the Vedas, I am the goal of all knowledge, I am the object of all knowledge, but I was the compiler of the Vedas and I am the knower of the Vedas. And I am situated inside everyone's heart, and from me comes remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. So we can, when we have problem, we can pray. Like when we go for book distribution, you can say a quick prayer before approaching the other person that, oh Paramatma, you're sitting in that person's heart also and my heart also. Please inspire him to take your instructions. Please inspire him to take your prasad and not turn away from you. So, just say a very quick prayer. So like that, if we have problems also, we can always say, please, Paramatma, inspire him to do the right thing, or inspire me to do the right thing. May I not give into to my low modes. May I not give into anger, greed, all these lower modes. But it's hard, very hard, but this verse is very, very strong. Hare Krishna. Okay, that's all for today. Anybody wants to share anything? Realizations, questions?
Mataji, this verse, it's the first line really hit me hard. I think this is all what we need to hear, that he's in everyone's heart, you know. So I think I'm going to memorize this verse and try to do it the next class. I'm going to try. I don't promise it, but I'm going to try.
Yes, Mother, you can do it.
This verse is a really good one, especially the first line. It's an important line if we all can remember all the time.
Yes, Mother. Yes, I'll send you a recording. Like I'll record and send, and you play it when you're driving, when you are cooking, and just keep repeating. And if you know a little bit of Hindi, it's not that hard to remember.
Okay, I'll definitely try my best to do this next class.
Yes, Mother. Thank you. That's amazing. Okay, anybody else wants to share anything? Nirbhay Prabhu, did you want to share anything?
Hare Krishna. No, I think that was a very nice discussion. And thank you, Mataji, for opening your heart and discussing. That's, this is recommended that we should discuss and open our heart with other devotees so that we can one, feel better, and also get some important inspiration from others who may have been in similar situations. And so yeah, this is actually recommended. One of the things in Nectar of Instruction is that we should, in our difficult times, open our heart to other devotees and discuss with them, and same whenever possible, discuss our challenges, because this is a difficult path. Even with devotion, it's not easy. We all know that. We have been through similar things, and no one in this world, this is Dukhalam Ashashvatam, so no one is really completely happy. It is not possible, and everybody is going through their own struggles. So as I was thinking of the same thing that Lalita Mataji mentioned when you mentioned this. It's important to know about those circles and keep reminding ourselves about those things. I think even in this is a common saying even in the Western culture. Here also you would see that sometimes it says, God give me the intelligence to to influence what I can change, and give me the power to change whatever is in my influence. Give me the knowledge to know whatever it is out of my circle of influence, and the intelligence to know the difference, or something like this. I've even seen here in biblical sayings. It is commonly, because it is very powerful, and it is something that helps us in our daily life all the time. So Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nirbhay Prabhu. Okay, thank you everybody for joining.
Nirbhay Prabhu, that is called the Serenity Prayer. So if you Google Serenity Prayer, I think you'll get that. That's a good one, Prabhuji. I think it's very irrespective of the religion. I think that's something that we should all remember. It keeps us grounded and makes us human.
Yes, Mataji, thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for sharing that. I think I was thinking about that Serenity Prayer too, but I think that's exactly what it is. Thank you for sharing. Mataji and Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. We'll stop for today. Vanchakaltarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyaivacha patatanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah Gurve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaya Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya namo namah.